Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Hacking Self Storage on this very, very crisp morning. Honestly, it feels freezing. I bloody love it. It's awesome. I love the seasons of England. Mind you, I do keep trying to get the wife to move to Dubai, or at least try it. Anyway, welcome to Hacking Self Storage. It's a daily podcast. We try to do it daily, but sometimes life gets in the way. It's a daily podcast where we talk all things self storage and business. On Mondays, we go through my week in numbers. I tell you absolutely everything behind everything in my business, which potentially is a little bit stupid because it has cost me in the past. It's cost me a self-storage facility because the landlord listened to my podcast and decided it's such a good return, he's going to open it for himself, which stung a little bit, but it was great content. And now I've talked about it in my course, which is awesome, and said, look, you can open a self-storage for under £20,000. He did it. He listens to my podcast and bloody did it. Anyway, I also have a daily newsletter, mrselfstorage.com, which is beautiful. It sends to you every single day before 8 a.m. And that's completely free as well. Right, so today, I love listening and learning about other companies. And we are going to talk about another self-storage company today. I did question whether I should be doing this or not, but I thought, well, I would never, ever negatively talk about another self-storage company. And so why can't I talk about another self-storage company positively? And I thought, well, surely I can. So today we are talking about Cuboid. Now, if you have signed up to my daily newsletter, there is a link to a new story about Cuboid again. It's from Inside Self Storage. It's a similar, it's just rewritten with the same information as I showed you guys. I don't know if it was Friday last week. Basically, Cuboid have come from nowhere and opened, I think, 20. Do you know what? I don't on the article it said 23 sites. On their website, I'm sure it's there. I counted out locations, I'm sure it was more. But they're primarily a container site and they're hoping to open many, many more. And do you know what? It just really excited me because I think they spotted an opportunity in the market, containerized storage, and they are going for it. And I mean going for it, which I've got to take my hat off to them. I think it is brilliant. Their branding, Cuboid, is wonderful. Their containers. I think this, and Cuboid, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that you tested the markets, first of all, with some normal shipping containers with all letters and numbers on and stuff, and just placed them down. And if that did well, then you would potentially look at opening more sites. As it happened, I think that site did really, really well. And so therefore, you've then started opening more and more and more. And you then invested in the containers and invested in your branding. You painted them, etc. Painted one of I don't know how many gates you painted, but painted the gate when you come in. It just adds to the effect, adds to the brand. So what everybody always says is try something minimal viable product first of all. Minimum viable product. If it works, then you can scale that system and spend more money on it. But the worst thing you want to do is really go into something and realize that you spent loads of money on a shit idea and it hasn't worked. So Cuboid did it 100% the right way. Dip the toe in first of all. And by the way, I could completely be wrong, but from what I can see in the research I've done, that is what's happened here. And now their sites look tremendous, absolutely tremendous. Like I say, their branding is on point. I love the color of their containers as well. And in this article, it does state that they are looking to open more and more and more and be the UK, which, by the way, they're not too far off at the minute. I think it's Lock and Stock that have got the most container sites, so they're not too far off already. But they have ambitions to be the biggest UK containerized storage. I was talking to somebody else in the industry who's very, very high up, who's very, very well respected in the industry, and he's very much interested in opening container sites 2.0, if you like, the next level, added security, better units and stuff, and just going to the higher level and making sure that that they bigger sites, just making sure that they're the best in the UK, if you like, on that sort of thing. And he, at the minute, does indoor storage or has done indoor storage because I don't want to give away who it is. And he's looking at doing and investing in that. And I think that's a wonderful idea. Big sites, like I'm talking 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, big sites in big locations. And I just, the more and more I look at content, I mean, I need to shut up about it because I am so bullish on this. Anyway, that's not what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about Cuboid and how awesome their rise has been. We've got an awesome operations manager as well. And it just looks as though they've got all the parts correctly woven together. And it's good to shout out a company that's doing it well. And I'm not one of these people who get jealous in any way, shape, or form about anybody or any company. And I look at them and think, do you know what? Rather than if people swap jealousy and use the word inspiration, the world would be completely different. Don't be jealous about somebody or a business. Be inspired by a business, and that's what I am with them. I just think it's incredible. I think they've opened like, I mean, in the first year, I think they've opened like 23 locations, which is, I'm sure the article says that. I'm not sure. I don't know if that is 100% true myself, because I haven't fact checked it, but that's what the article says. If that's the case, holy shit, Cuboid, what a management team you've got. What, I think the company, by the way, it's a pension. It's not a pension fund. It's an investment fund called FIRME. I don't know if they call it FIRME or if it's FIRME. And yeah, I think it's wonderful how much they've invested, and they've invested properly as well. They've really done things right. Anyway, to the point. I was doing a deep dive on them yesterday. Obviously, I'm a bit of a storage geek. I like to read. If you've got a self-storage company, I've probably researched you. It doesn't matter how many sites you've got. Yesterday, I was researching. I'm not going to tell you what city because it gives you away where I'm looking. But I was researching independents, and I was speaking to independent owners, and it's great because you just get to talk to them, and they're telling me how good self storage is, and they've got no idea that I'm in self storage. And they're like, yeah, we're going to buy some more containers. I can't believe how quick these are renting out. I'm like, thank you very much for the information. This is brilliant. And I'm going to say it, I get off. Not like that. I just absolutely love it. The fact that I can find out all this information, talk to people, and these one-man bands, these independents who are actually the owners, but they're actually working inside the company. And you can see their cogs turning when you're talking to them. Like, oh my God, yes, this is a really good business. And I can't believe how good it is. I can't believe we're going to order a big more batch of containers. And I'm looking at the site thinking, how the heck are you guys doing this? But the great news is, if they're doing it on that level, then we can add a little bit of sprinkle. Somebody said to me the other day, a bit of Dean fairy dust or something, or special dust or something to describe it. I was like, oh, that's amazing. Just sprinkle a little bit of class, a little bit of know-how, and we can really take these returns to the next level. And by the way, talking about returns, loads of people reached out and emailed me about the spreadsheet yesterday. I will be going through them all today. Just reminding me because John has just emailed me as well. And so it just reminded me then, so I will get through everybody, but there was a lot more than I expected. To be honest, I didn't even think you paid attention. But when I was talking about returns and bettering your life, I think that obviously people are interested, which is awesome. I might even do a course just about containerized storage. But also, like I think I said yesterday, that I don't think I'll be doing the course past 2025. The course, like self-storage to me, is a vehicle to earn money. Self-storage is a vehicle to earn money, but the vehicle for self-storage will earn me more money than the course ever will. But the course will enable me to invest in self-storage and earn more money. So that is what I'm probably going to be doing next year, just going hard at the course, trying to sell 7 figures worth and then invest in that. So I'm not actually joking. That's the aim, to sell £1 million worth of a course and then invest that and do the mastermind as well. I want to do the mastermind. I don't think I'll be doing it for longer than a year. But as long as we get the people there, I don't want to do it if there's not the interest and stuff. But yeah, I want to be doing the mastermind for a little bit of time, for a year, the course for a year, educate as much as possible, probably still do the newsletter after the year, but then that will give me the funds to then kick on. And it'll also, by that point as well, I'll be able to get proper lending from proper banks as well. So then I won't need to scrape, do the course and, all things like that, because obviously it's just a means to an end. I love doing the course. I've enjoyed doing the course, but it's not, yes, it's going to be great money, but it's not going to build me massive wealth. Anyway, right. So I was doing a deep dive on Cuboid yesterday, and something that I have never ever seen before that they're doing, and I found it interesting. And yes, Cuboid, it was me who was doing quotes with you. In Hull, they've opened up in a shopping centre. In a shopping centre. I mean, just so we know, Cuboid, I think you've opened up in the wrong area. I think you picked the roughest area in Hull to open up. And by the way, I'm allowed to say that because my wife's from there, and she says it herself. and my wife's family still live just around the corner from there as well. And it's it's a great area, but it's not it isn't it's not the wealthiest area. I'm sort of squirming on my seat now. I'm going, oh, move on. Anyway, they've opened a shopping centre at the bottom of it. Yes, it's the market section of the shopping centre, and I am really, really intrigued how this does. I have no idea. This is what I love about this company. It's test, 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 because straight away I'm thinking, oh, that's never been done before, and but I love their thought process. Just because it hasn't been done before, it doesn't mean it's not going to work. We'll only know if something works or not is if we test it. So let's test it. And so that's what Cuboid are doing today. I presume we're just testing, see if it's working or not. And I'm going to go and have a look at it as well. It's only open 9 until 6 when the shopping centre's open, so you can only access your goods between 9 and 6. And I think that you you'll be closed at 6, so you will not be able to go at like 5 to 6 because, well, you will, but you've got to be out by 6 o'clock on the door when the door's shut. So I find that fascinating. I find that really, really interesting. And I wanted to share it with you guys. It's not a massive, I know that on retail parks, it has been done before. I know that Storaway, they did some funky stuff where you had to park miles away. Apparently there was car parking spaces if you told them early enough. And I'm only using hearsay, so Storaway people, if I'm wrong, please correct me. But I've only on hearsay on the grapevine here that wasn't amazingly successful, and I'm doing speech marks because I'm getting nervous and I don't want to upset nobody. So yeah, I know they've done funky stuff. I know Anthony Adams has opened recently on a retail park as well. That area looks wicked. So I know that all that is going on, and obviously being retail, it's higher rent and rates. Can you get the rates changed? Possibly, maybe. I don't know. I'm not a rates expert, but I know the rent is higher because we've looked at it ourselves as well, and I just couldn't make the numbers work because I always do worst case scenario. Worst case scenario means that the numbers aren't going to work on best case on really high rents. So yeah, I found it interesting. I think that we should watch with interest, and I will certainly be looking out and maybe do an update in 6 months and seeing if this does work. I mean, it's a place called North Point Shopping Centre, the indoor market area. I do think that it's got a massive, massive volume of traffic, and I know the traffic very, very well because there's a betting shop there. And for those of you who don't know, I used to be in betting. I used to have a betting shop in Hull. Mine was the third busiest in Hull. The first busiest in Hull was North Point Shopping Centre. And I used to go there, stand outside, count the foot flow, do a slip count. You used to be able to put a slip in before these amazing tills now, but you used to be able to put a slip in at the start of a week, and there was a slip number at the bottom. I think it was the last six on the right hand side. I can't quite remember. And then you used to come every day or at the end of a week, and you could find out by putting another slip in, by putting a pound bet on a dog. You could compare slip numbers and see how many slips are doing. You know the average volume, the average transaction of a slip, what the average transaction is, and then you could times that by how many slips, and then you know the average percentage because it's a PLC, so you could see how much they was making, and then from that you could derive, I think derive is the right word, how much you was making on the fobs because the amount of slips is correlated with how much money you make on the fobs as well, and all of a sudden you know how much corals are making. And so I used to do that all the time at Corals at North Point Shopping Centre. So this place, I love it because one, it's close to my wife's family. It's close to where my wife grew up as well. And yeah, the betting shop was there. It was my holy grail. Was that shop? It was like, it's what I wanted to get towards. And so yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see what happens at North Point Shopping Centre with Cuboid. But even if this doesn't work, Cuboid, I love how you go about business. I love how you are approaching the self-storage industry, and I think it is going to be fascinating to watch your growth. And your site in Chorley, God damn it, I was at heads of terms in Chorley before you came there. And Chorley has been on my hit list for ages because it's still under service now, but I can't find anything in Chorley. So I've been looking. I go to Blackpool quite a lot because I love Blackpool. Kiss Me Quick and all that lot. The wife hates it. I love it because I'm a bit of a chav at heart. A bit of a wrong and a bit of a chav, and I pass through Chorley all the time, and I love the place for some reason. Anyway, that's where Cuboid's head office is, and Yeah, I was gutted when I saw before I knew who Cuboid was. I was gutted when I saw container site are opening. I can tell you right now to do awesome. And if you know Chorley, the place I was at heads of terms was a building next to McDonald's, and we fell out with me and the landowner because he wanted to charge me something like £15,000 extra for rent for the car park because he found out I was putting containers on. Why did he find out? I told him. So again, a lesson learned there. But it would have been an amazing site. That'd have netted 100 and something grand every single year. It's not a big site. It was only a small site, but you couldn't fail. The worst operator in the world would make 100 grand from that site, and it wasn't a lot to set up either. It's just like one. It's one that's got away, and there's plenty of stories. Like I should do a book about the ones that got away, and then add it all up. The millions I've lost from stupid ones. The biggest one for me is in Bradford. It was a 30 mile an hour dual carriageway. The closest self storage was a company called Admiral. They was completely full. It was palisade fencing. It had a gate. It it was tarmacked. Everything was beautiful about it, and I mean beautiful. And it was underserviced, that area of 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 Bradford. I held out a £2,000. Honestly, I can't even believe it now. Now when people are talking to me, that I use that as a lesson to me. When I say I'm coaching somebody right now, and I say to them that think about the bigger picture. It's the bigger picture, and they've got a problem with deposit. This landlord, and I teach: do not pay a deposit. Do not pay a deposit if you're starting out. This person is starting out, and the landlord wants £8,000. This guy or two guys who I'm coaching at the minute, they have a lot of money. They're fine with money, and I'm actually meeting one of them today. They're fine with Dosh, and I just said to him, I said, I agree, because they said who's going to pay it, who's stomach it. I was like, I agree. Don't sweat the small stuff. Don't let £8,000 get in the way of a site that's going to make you 200 grand every year. What's 8 grand? And so I know that at first, but by the way, a few years ago when that was happening for me at Bradford, it £2,000 a year meant a lot to me, and that's probably why the business is where it is at today, because we was frugal and we was hard negotiators. We wanted the cake and we wanted to eat it, but sometimes you've got to give a little bit as well and think about the bigger picture, and that's something that I couldn't do because I didn't have the money. Now I look back at that £2,000 and think, fucking hell, what? It still upsets me now because I know how hard it is to find a site as good as that, like that, in underserviced area where Admiral containers were full as well. And I'm like, yeah, yeah. So anyway, moral of the story is Cuboid look awesome, and I can't wait to see the development and the opening inside a shopping centre, which I've never seen before. And by the way, a shopping centre, I'm sure this part of a shopping centre is only their part. I think there's only access to it for Cuboid. It's nobody else because it's the indoor market section. So it's only Cuboid who has that section. It's not like there's like a Woolworths and then a Cuboid. Oh, Woolworths. I don't know, beating them or whatever. It's not like that. It's like it's on its own. So right, that's it for me, guys. I love you. I appreciate you. Cuboid, keep doing awesome stuff, and I'm sure you'll get to that £210 million valuation comfortably. I'm coming not far behind you, mate, because we want a £100 million valuation, and we're documenting it all on MrSelfStories.com. All right, love you guys. Speak to you later. Bye.